So if you don't want your child to live the same life that you lived as a child, what are you putting out there for them to grasp onto? What are you giving them? What kind of positivity? First of all, before you even go there, what are you doing for yourself?
A couple of years ago, I wrote a book that I titled How to Discover Your Life Purpose. That book is important for me. So I remember at one point in the book, I was saying, you need to know that your mind is playing trick on you. How you would know this is that if those thoughts come to your mind, don't leave it there, put it down. Look at what your mind is telling you, you will know that it is not true. And how do you know? Because you've been living, for how long have you been alive? You should be able to know, they're not really complicated. Not everything we think are complicated. Of course, there are some complicated things, I know, but there are some things that are really very simple for us to understand.
Write down those words, because writing down those words, again, gives them power. Just like it said for Dr. Emoto, write the words down. You don't know what you're doing. You're putting it in there. Read those words every day. When you read those words that you've written down with power, you're putting that power back into yourself, and you're controlling the 70 to 80% water that's in your body. Hello, everyone. I am Melvinia Ford, Coach Reverend Melvinia Ford specifically, and I live here in the United States. I am a coach, life coach, counselor, metaphysical specialist, author. Wow. Working on a doctoral student.
You're everywhere.
Doing so much.
All right. So tell us, what is going on around you today? Tell us, give us some update. What is happening near you?
Wow. Well, lately, actually, just recently, I just started my first edition, and it's already published out. It's called Revive International. It's a women's magazine. It's written by women, for women, to empower women. And there are women in there from the United States, from Angola, Africa, I think from the Congo, I think Trinidad and Tobago, London, the UK. So we just did our first edition. We just published it maybe a week or so ago. We just blasted it out. It's called Revive International. So that was my latest baby I just put out.
That's lovely. That's lovely. And what is the primary objective of that?
It was an inspiration that I got. All of a sudden, something just said, do a magazine. And I'm like, huh? And I just did it. I put it out there, just literally basically jumped into the water. I had no clue of what I was doing, but I did have a lot of women behind me to support me, because they've been in the area of creating magazines, or are already in the area, and they're creating their own magazine. They already have one. So I kind of bounced off of them. And then from that, I made my own magazine, and the inspiration came. And the name Revive came from just being able to, when you think about water, because on the front page of the magazine, there's a water dripping down, pouring down. And it's about cleansing. It's about refreshing. It's about healing. So when you think about water, when you think about, especially like, say, for instance, if you're taking a shower, or you're standing under a waterfall, it's pouring down on you. And if you come from a metaphysical standpoint, you think about water as a cleansing of negative energy. So you're healing and you're cleansing and you're getting refreshed. Water is refreshing. Water is healing. So I wanted to make sure that that was a point that I got across for women, because we have this time now for us is where we need to start reviving. We need that revival, because us as women, we go all the time, consistently. We don't know when to stop. We don't know when to self-care, self-medicate. So this is where this magazine came from. So magazines come from women with businesses to help other women with businesses, or younger women who want to start businesses, or even just those women who don't know where to start with life, period. And you need someone to show you where to start with empowerment. So this group of women that I'm working with now from this first magazine, they actually have their contact information. So if they want to contact any of these women regarding the different topics that they talk about in the magazine, it's available to them. I want to make sure that not only the readers are being helped with this, but I want to make sure that also the authors and the writers of these articles are also helped as well, because, you know, hand in hand, we help each other. So they're getting business, and then the readers are also getting the information they need to become a better person. You know, you never know. You may need a life coach, you may need a lawyer, or you may need someone to help you draw up a will or a documentation or whatever it is, financial information. There's so much information in there to help you get started, and you have a contact point to go to help you if you have no one around you to help you.
I can say that again and again, that we need it. No one can do it alone. We all need each other. So
Exactly.
that's a really good place to start.
Okay.
All right. So tell me, we are talking about positive thinking today, and I think that is also very important, because you are choosing to be positive. Because you believe that is going to be important for you. So I also believe that is part of what you do. Is that correct?
Correct. That is all of what I do, especially when it comes to women.
Okay, tell me more about that. What are we talking about positive thinking?
I'm pretty sure you know Dr. Melvinia Ford. She's also, you know, coach and counselor, and she's also my coach as well, mentor as well. So a lot of the things that I didn't even realize when we last spoke, you and I, from our last segment, that I was already practicing, but I didn't know the actual correct terminology for correction. And she walked me through a little bit more of it, and it made sense because I was already a coach and counselor. But when you think about the positive thinking, you think about what causes the person to think positively, what helps them, what harnesses that positive thinking. Where's their thinking coming from? So I want to start off letting everyone know that the point of power, and this is something from Louise Hay, the point of power is always in the present moment. You cannot change the past, but if you linger in there and continue in the past, what you continually think of is exactly what you bring to your present. Not only that, you're creating your future with those same thoughts. And a lot of people don't understand. And not to take it to the spiritual side, but at the same time, we need that connection to understand. There's a difference between spiritual and religion. So I'm saying spiritual, so it won't get too crazy, because it's not about denomination or connection or whatever. It's about your connection with the creator inside of you. So saying that, I want everyone to understand that if you're talking about the creator, we cannot put the creator in a box, meaning we need to understand truly that we are part of the creator is part of us. If the creator created and we're made in the creator's image, we have the same power that the creator has. Now, when you think about that, those who are in church or denominations, you know, we say certain things and we understand certain things to be like, it says, you know, in certain books, you were created in my image. And then there's another passage that says, you will do these things that I did, and then some more. That tells us right there how much power we as individuals have and how much of a connection we have with the creator. Those two sentences alone tell us who we are and what we are. Knowing that, we should be able to hone in on those same things. If that's what it is, I should be able to do that. I can do that because I was told that I can do that. So think about positive thoughts. The creator said, let there be, and it was. So why can't we do the same thing? Why can't we say, let there be? Why can't we believe that there can be for each one of us, all of us? You know, it's very serious. Wow, when I think it, I could talk on this topic forever, for real, but I want to talk about Dr. Masaru Emoto. And if you've heard of him before, he talked about, I think 1994, he talked about the interconnectedness between human consciousness, and the molecular structure of water. Now, those of you who are into science understand that our bodies are made about 75 to 80% water. So, if you were to talk about the interconnectedness between human consciousness, which means our thoughts, our feelings, and our emotions, if you realize that every thought that we have, every emotion that we have, it's within us and it's connected to the water that is already in us. We are made up of water. A large percentage of it is water, of us is water. So Dr. Emoto talked about how you can take, he did an experiment. You take a glass of water or a bottle of water, whatever you want to do. You take it and you tape a positive word on it and you put, or in front of it, love. You take another bottle of water and you put hate. I guarantee you, you take those waters, put them in the freezer, they'll come back crystallized totally different. The one with love on it will have crystals or snowflakes on a design. And if you look at it, you'll see the design. It'll look like beautiful snowflakes. But the other one, if you look at that one after it freezes and it has hate on it, a word, a written word can cause power, can do this. You look at that hate on that word, it's a totally different crystallized form. This is why we need to realize how much our thoughts, our emotions, and our feelings and our words control everything within us, control everything around us. So if you have that power to do something to water like that on the outside, just imagine what your thoughts and your words and your power are doing to you on the inside and causing, and what's bringing it to your life, what you're bringing into your life. What pains are you causing? What traumas are you continuing by something from the past? If you don't want the past to continue in your life, then you change your words. You change your thoughts. You address those thoughts too. You look at them, not saying ignore them, because ignoring them just sweeps it under the cover. Eventually it's going to come back. But when you're looking at it from a standpoint of, okay, it's time to deal with this. I don't like what's happening. I don't like the recurring cycle that I'm on. What do I need to do to stop it? I need to go within. This is where we harness the power of our thoughts. This is where we start the beginning. No, is it an easy process? Not at all. But a lot of people feel like if they just ignore it, the issue will go away. No, unfortunately, I tried that and it didn't work. So after 20 years, I've been through my own self-healing process. And then I took on another healing process with Dr. Melvinia Ford to get my second coaching certification. And this one opened my eyes to so much more as far as our thoughts and our words. What kind of life do you want to have? How do you want, what kind of story do you want for, not for just yourself, but for your children? So if you don't want your child to live the same life that you lived as a child, what are you putting out there for them to grasp onto? What are you giving them? What kind of positivity? First of all, before you even go there, what are you doing for yourself? Because I tell everyone this, and I still say it, put your own oxygen mask on before you can help another. So how do you change your story? Looking at the past first, acknowledging what happened, what it was, forgiving it. That's the most painful, but the biggest thing that a lot of us have a hard time doing is forgiving. Not just forgiving others, but forgiving ourselves. And when you realize you cannot change the past, but you can embrace the positive lessons that you got out of it, and you can change it. I don't have to live in peace. I'm sorry. I don't have to live in pain. I don't have to live in despair. I don't have to, you can't do it. You can't go back to 2 years old. You can't go back to 5, 10, 12, how old you are, you can't go back to that past. What you can do is change it, knowing that you have that power within to change it. So if you were to look at it from this standpoint, okay, this is just a prime example. Someone could be in a home and it might be a 2-bedroom, but you need a bigger one because you have family, you have a business you want to grow, right? So if you're continually thinking that I don't have enough, if you're continually speaking, I don't have enough, and you can't even see yourself past where you are, do you think you're going to go forward? And think about, again, what you're doing to the inside of your body. You're continuing that process. It's like getting on that hamster wheel again. It's not going to go anywhere. If you're already in the now thinking that you're not going to get anywhere and it's not worth it and you're always suffering and struggling, you just put the words out there in the atmosphere. You've also just put the words in your body. So you're going to adjust according to what you think and what you feel and what you speak. But if you can take one moment, even if it's just 15 minutes, 10 minutes, give yourself 5 minutes if you need to start, and just close your eyes, shut the world out, and just say, what if? What if? And the one thing we forget is that we did as children is we imagined. There was not a time when we were kids that we didn't say, what if I could do this? What if you cannot tell us we could not fly. We were kids. We were invincible. Now, some of those things were kind of, ridiculous, like jumping off a roof from Superman. Okay, I can't do that, but I my mind, I can. But what if we could take that same concept and think of it in a different term? I can fly. I can make this. I can make my life the best I want it to be. I can do this. What if? And if you put yourself in that imaginatory place, just imagine what you're doing to your body. Just imagine what you're doing to everything around you because of that positive influence that you're giving yourself. You're putting that oxygen mask on for yourself first. And then when your life starts changing, it's going to do it little by little. And once we start paying attention to those little things start changing bigger and bigger and bigger. And you don't really have to do anything. We feel like we have to go out here 9 to 5, have 3, 4, 5 jobs, and then we stop and say, after we've done all this work, well, I'm just waiting on God. What? So it's catch-22. You're battling yourself and you're battling the words you say, the words you speak, and the words you believe. Do you believe it? Do you not believe it? Do you want it? Or do you not want it? Are you going to give it to the Creator or are you not? Are you going to believe that the Creator lives in you or not? It's your power.
Thank you so much for that. That is really very powerful. Now tell me something, because we're going to be talking about a lot about the positive thinking today and our personal growth, the ability to be able to transform our life through the power of our words. And I really believe that there is power in our words. But help us to understand something. How does it really work? I mean, how does our word transform into action that sort of maybe condition us for either good or bad? Could you share something more about that?
So let's take it from the standpoint of a child. That's where we need to begin in the beginning, because as an adult, you're already programmed. You're already there. You've done years and years of programming. This starts at the age, from the time a child can understand English, until 5, the programming is there unless they understand it. So if you have a family lifestyle that is toxic, if there's no positive words being given out, if that child is not being empowered or encouraged or anything, then they go with what was told to them. I can give you an example as myself. I was grown, and now let me just say this preempted with, those are things that were said to me as a child, but now I think totally different because I now understand so much. Remember I mentioned earlier about going back. So I was told I was hard-headed. I was told I didn't listen. I'm laughing at this now, so funny. I was told, I was called nicknames. I was given nicknames as Crazy Horse. And then if you know the history, Crazy Horse was an Indian and he was a leader, but he was also very rebellious. I guess I was. I guess I was. So I was the youngest, but I was always rebellious to a certain. I wasn't bad. I obeyed, but I didn't agree with everything that was told to me. I didn't always like it, but I dealt with it because that's what I had to. But at the same time, if someone's consistently saying negative things into you, you start to believe those things and you grow up with those thought processes and mindsets. Well, if I'm hard-headed, may as well just continually go on this path. It's called control. It's called programming. How do you come out of that? First, you got to understand that It's a story that someone else created about you. That does not necessarily mean it's true. It's just their beliefs about who you are. Question is, what do you believe and who do you believe you are? That's what's supposed to take precedence over anything. Because at the end of the day, it does not matter what someone else says to you or about you, because it's still your life. Now, as a child, you don't know that unless the parent tells you that and enforces that to you, and that they're already giving you positive reinforcements and telling you you're great, you're going to be a leader, you're I love you. We need that affirmation from parents. We need that from our older elders. But sometimes, because of what they've come from, this is all they know to do, and they think in one part of their minds they're actually believing they're helping us. They believe that I'm telling you this because I don't want you to go through the same things I went through. Actually, it just makes us go through the same things and a little bit worse. If you notice, every generation does a little bit more than the next generation. So it's always our parents did something, then we took what they did, amplified it, then our kids did the same thing and amplified it. Now I have grandkids and it's like, oh my God. So you have to have that mindset to understand it. And unfortunately, right now, the world is changing slowly to that point in understanding. With the new generations, they're a lot more bolder. But we're trying to learn a lot of the things with understanding the power of words and how they affect us, and understanding that not everything that someone else says about you is true. Because at some point you have to take control of your own life and believe in yourself more than you believe in what someone else says. You may not like what your parents say about you, but does that mean you hold on to it for the rest of your life? Well, they say I'm hard-headed. They say I'm not going to be anything. They say I'm not, all these negative things. And they start believing it. Well, if that's the case, then I may as well just start doing bad things. Not necessary.
Thank you so much for that, Melvina. You see, what you are saying is very important for me. Very important for me because there is a part of my culture that I think is really worth evaluating, particularly now as we are talking of this power of words. I come from Nigeria. I come from the south of Nigeria. My people are called Esan. Is in Edo State. Now, among Asian people, but I believe this is pretty common among many African people. But of course, I can speak of Asian because that is where I grew up from. So you will hear words like "Ola me cheke do varedana." That would mean may your tongue go into your stomach. Come here, and that usually will be said by either a parent or an elderly one. Mm-hmm. Or maybe among children, you will hear something like "moto bear." Moto bear would mean "may car kill you." Or some, there are very many like that. Awale, may dog eat you, something like that. Or all this terrible thing, we look at it like it's a kind of play. And it's not like it is said only one or two times. But the question I'm asking now is that, does this thing that we say have any effect in the kind of image that we form at the end of the day? Does it affect us in any way? Because if we now believe that the words, that the utterances of our mouth do have significance, then why would a parent tell a child, may your tongue go into your stomach? So at a point I was reflecting, I said, maybe the people didn't know what they are talking about. They don't understand the significance of their words. Because if they do, they will never say that. I can never say that to my son, to my child. I can never say that. Instead of saying that, I will probably beat him. Because I understand the meaning of your tongue going into your stomach. I am a writer. I play with words. So I know what I mean when I say, may car kill you. But now, because when I say, may car kill you, I literally see car kill you in the image. It's not for me just an imaginary thing. I'm seeing it. And because I am seeing it, I don't want that to happen to you. Therefore, I will never say that to you. So I'm thinking that maybe later in my project, I will also work on that. I will really like ask people to reflect on that because I don't think that is a good thing. I am talking of the way that we behave in our culture. It is wrong because people don't understand the significance of the power that they have as a people in passing down those utterances on other people. Therefore, it is important what you are doing, what you are saying, to understand, to hold ourselves responsible for what we say, because what we say means something. I know that at this cultural thing that we might say, okay, but you say it didn't mean it. But no, if you don't mean it, don't say it. Say only what you mean and mean what you say. So if that is what you say, I want to hold you accountable for that. All right, Melvina, I have another question for you. How do you develop positive thinking? Because I believe that some people really want to understand that. Share with me.
It's a process. It is definitely a process. A lot of people think some of the things that you do is hard, and it takes, just like it, how you learn to ride a bike, how you learn to write, how you learn to walk. You have to crawl before you walk. How you learn how to drive a car. It takes time. How you learn how to do anything. It You go in unknowing. You go in not understanding how. You go in tripping up over yourself. So a lot of the things that I do is I listen to initially guided meditations I started with. And when you're not used to sitting still, we have a stimuli that doesn't know how to sit still because we're stimulated by everything: television, radio, phones, music. We have to be doing something. And because this is, again, part of their programming. It's like we've been told with those words again, if we're not doing something, idle mind is the devil's workshop. That's not true. Meditation is huge for me now. Um, Initially I did guide it because you need something to kind of help you. Just to sit there in silence initially when you first start, that's not going to work because your mind is consistently going. The goal is to shut down the mind, which is the ego, which wants control. Not saying that the ego is not to, if we didn't have an ego, something will be missing. The ego has a purpose, but it's not supposed to have control. So learning how to still the mind. And if you don't know how to sit still by yourself, use a guided meditation, because when you're listening to a guided meditation, it's walking you through it. And of course, you're gonna stray off the path. Everything is gonna scratch, you're gonna itch, and a thought's gonna pass your mind, and then all of a sudden you're back at, wait a minute, 15 minutes have passed and you're back at the meditation again. It takes time. You have to program yourself to do this all the time. Most meditations, if you're starting out, they tell you to do it for 30 days, morning and night. Give yourself 15 minutes. Find a meditation that you can do in the morning, early in the morning, before you have to get up and get ready. Program yourself to do it. If it's something that you really, truly want to do and you want to change your life, you have to make yourself do it. It's called discipline. And it's a positive discipline. It's not like getting beat with a belt or something. Oh my God. It's something that you want. If you don't want it, you're not going to do it, and you're not going to get the results that you want. Another thing is setting intentions. All the negative words that you say about yourself. You know how many times we talk negatively about ourselves? Oh my God, I'm so fat. We do it unconsciously, especially women. I'm not even trying to be funny. I don't know if men do it as much as women do, but women, we find 20,000 flaws in 1 minute. Oh my God, my nails are bad. Oh my God, my hair is wrong. We'll look at another woman and go, oh girl, you're so pretty. Girl, and the minute we get the compliment, instead of us saying thank you, we'll come back with, girl, I'm so fat. Wait a minute. What happened to thank you? Intentions. Say thank you. Get up in the morning and look in the mirror. Tell yourself positive. You are beautiful. You are going to succeed today. You are wonderful. You are awesome. Oh my God, girl, you look so pretty today. Make it for yourself. You know, meditation, positive intentions. As a matter of fact, take those intentions that you say to yourself, write them down, because even again, remember going back to Dr. Emoto, writing those words down puts them in the perspective of power, puts them out there into the universe. A lot of people don't want to hear the word universe because they say God is not the universe. I'm sorry, but God is the universe, because how did the universe get created without God? You can't have one without the other. I'm sorry. God is all. And if you say God is all, when you go to church, then everything is God. So don't dismay everything. You get the kind of, you get the hypocrisy in it, right? It's like, how do you say this is God, but then you say this is God, but God created everything? I'm not understanding. So now straight up, yeah. I'm sorry. Write down, write down those words, because writing down those words again gives them power. Just like it said for Dr. Emoto, write the words down. You don't know what you're doing. You're putting it in there. Read those words every day. When you read those words that you've written down with power, you're putting that power back into yourself, and you're controlling the 70 to 80% water that's in your body. 30 days, every time. I guarantee you it works. When I stray off the path, I know it, because everything around me is acting really wonky, off kilter, and everything. My whole life is just in disarray, and I have to go stop, get back on track. What are you not doing? You know, another thing, how do you start with this? We don't realize that a lot of, not just the words and the things that we think and speak, but the foods we eat have a huge, huge problem. That's that it affects, it has a huge effect. I'm trying to talk and think at the same time. It has a huge effect on our bodies. We don't realize that what we put into our bodies affect our thoughts. If you're putting all fattening foods into you all the time, 24/7, when do you have time to be healthy? Because you're sick, you're going to the doctor, you're putting pharmaceuticals in your body. And of course, you don't have time to think about positive intentions, because you're too busy trying to figure out how to get rid of high blood pressure, cardiac, cholesterol, or whatever, diabetes. You're focused on that. But if you change those things, change what you eat, drink more water. I know I hated water. I hated water like a passion. But now I can drink water. I can eat a lot more greens. And I liked greens when I was young because I grew up on it. But the things that you wouldn't normally eat, if I go to anybody's fast food, it's going to be like every 5-6 months now. It's because it's a treat. It's not a lifestyle for me anymore, because I understand those foods are out there and they control what happens to your body. And if you're sick, the last thing you're thinking about is anything positive. The last thing you're trying to do is speak positively into your life. It actually causes you to think the wrong things. It actually causes you to be the wrong type of person that you don't want to be. You got to see the things that's affecting you before you can even fix what needs to be fixed.
Thank you so much for that. A couple of years ago, actually, I think I did a lot of experiment with my life, actually, because I live alone for very many years, so I have the time to be able to bring the thought in my head and really put it on paper. And I've experimented a lot of things that sometimes I've got it convinced of a lot of things that it's not just for you to say it, but I can put it in practice, because right from childhood, I have been doubting a lot of things. And that have been very helpful to me. All right. When it comes to religion, for example, one day I have a very good friend of mine. He's a Catholic priest. Of course, when we talk, he said, but hey, how do you come to have this kind of mindset? I say, well, anyway, what he would usually do, anyway, he's kind of and a free person. So we talk very freely about the church and about faith and all of that. And he would say something like, how do you get to be free from all these things? I said, well, I chose to. I chose to be free. I had this chance. I usually tell people, for me, It is not enough that you tell me. I will find out.
Oh God.
So I think our mind play a lot of tricks on us. I think we need to understand this. A couple of years ago, I wrote a book that I titled "How to Discover Your Life Purpose." That book is important for me. So I remember at one point in the book, I was saying, you need to know that your mind is playing trick on you. How you would know this is that if those thoughts come to your mind, don't leave it there, put it down. Look at what your mind is telling you, you will know that it is not true. And how do you know? Because you've been living, for how long have you been alive? You should be able to know, they're not really complicated. Not everything we think are complicated. Of course, there are some complicated things, I know, but there are some things that are really very simple for us to understand. All right, let me give you another instance. Then, of course, I will pass to the question I want to ask you.
Okay.
Our mind condemns us very often. They will usually tell you, oh, there is somebody there that is coming to hit you. Of course, it doesn't mean that it's lying all the time, but more than 90% is not true. Like,
Exactly.
maybe for example, the light goes off, no? The devil is there. Oh no, somebody is there to attack you. Somebody is there. How you know this is enter? You will not see anything. When you are afraid, your fear will control you.
Mhm.
If you are not afraid, you will see through your fear as transparent. You can literally walk through it.
Yes. Yes.
Therefore, it is important that we don't just look at the fear as a wall. We look at it as transparent. Okay, let's face it. Because after all, what is the worst that will happen? Okay, the monster come and it eats you. At least now there is an evidence of what have happened.
Mm-hmm.
But there is no monster there. There is no. Enagia was saying in one of his speeches that even in pre-Christian era, people in Europe were talking about the monster. He said even then there was no evidence of monster. Not even during the Greek era, not even during the Egyptians. The Egyptians didn't see any monster. But of course, it is written everywhere. Of course, we don't even want to go into the concept of fear. But what I'm literally saying is that most of the things we are afraid of, we can really control them. And I think that is where we are today, that the power is in your hands. If you are a child of God, if you are a daughter of God, you should be able to overcome the fear that you are afraid of. How do you know that? Look at a lion. The child of a lion is a lion.
Yes.
If you are a child of God and you believe that God created this universe, created heaven and earth, created everything, and the only thing that you can do is to be afraid, you don't know the child of who you are.
Exactly.
All right. How do positive thinking actually affect us?
Wow. Okay. Let me see. Where can I go with this one? So, how can positive affect you? A positive word? Definitely. Okay. Last year alone, after my sessions with Dr. Noya Foti, I began to look at all the things that I was believing in and that I had not let go of. Once I started changing things that I watched, I would listen to the 42 Ideals of My Eye, and those are all positive things. And I put that on for 30 days, morning and night. As a matter of fact, I even created my own on my TikTok, and it's pinned so everyone else can look at it. And the more I did that, a peace came over me. You start to change. The waters and the molecules in your body start to change. All of a sudden, all of the things that you were listening to, that you were paying attention to, that you were watching, you don't want to anymore. Like, say, for instance, right now, I don't watch the news. They have it in my job. When I'm in the lunchroom, it's on. But if we can turn the channel, I turn it. I'm on Facebook for business purposes mainly. If I see friends say hi, whatever, they'll inbox me, whatever. I don't pay attention to all the negative things. Sometimes I get pulled in, But then I will go back to God and say, okay, why am I watching this? Because any other time I know for a fact that I'm not supposed to see this. And then God will bring it to the forefront of my mind. Look at what you do for women. This is what you need to see so you can talk about it and you can expound on it and see how it affects us as women. Okay. So when the majority, I watch the music I listen to. I've even tried to, matter of fact, not tried, I've even changed and taken out some of the songs on my playlist. If it's not positive, if it's not inspirational, if the words are depressing, or you did this to me and I don't like you and I don't love you, and we really have to watch those words, because this is how we create our circumstances. This is how we create our surroundings. If we're consistently saying I'm broke, okay, I got one good example. I never knew my dad. I don't even know if he knew the positivity of words. But remember the old saying when we were a kid, you may have heard it. See a penny, pick it up, and all the day you have good luck. My dad, every time we'd be out somewhere when I was little, he'd see a penny. There's a penny, and I knew what it was. I'd pick it up and I'd say those words, and I would just be so happy. Now, I don't know what good luck I had because I wasn't paying attention. I just picked up the penny and was happy because I said what I said. But when I look at it as an adult now, every time I see a dime, a quarter, a penny, anything, I pick it up. I remember those words in my spirit and I recite it in my heart, and then I bless that money, because little becomes much when you give it love, just like a plant, a flower. When you give it love, encouragement, positivity, it's gonna grow. So if you take that penny and you bless it, you never know where that other dollar or $10 or $5 is going to come from. That's where the power is, not in jumping out here and making things happen like the way we think we ought to make them happen physically. It's when the power of our words. Things change. Your emotions change. You never want to be around the negativity anymore. You try to be the light in other people's lives. But the one thing I remember in all my studies over the last few years is when the student is ready, the teacher will appear. Anytime, I've always stepped out there, and it's a lesson for me even to this day right now. I'm always, you always says, I'm always trying to help everybody. Why are you always trying to help everybody? Okay, I'm sorry. But so I have to tell myself that now. I have to shut myself down, because we as humans, this is innate in us. This is in us. We can't help it. We always want to help someone. And we don't understand. Everyone has a timing. Everyone has a divine timing is when that's supposed to happen. And everyone's not going to be happy, and everyone's not going to be on the path that you're on at that particular time. So you have to be okay with saying, pull away from it. Because if they keep coming to you with negativity, guess what? It's going to fester into you, because those words are being put out in. Words have energy. That's powerful. Words have energy. If I keep coming to you with negativity, next thing you know, you're going to start thinking the same thing. You know the old saying, birds of a feather flock together.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
It's powerful. So you got to think about those things. So if you're putting those intentions out there, and if you're doing the meditations, it changes your mindset. It changes your psyche. It changes you. You want to do better. You want to eat better. You want the better things. And sooner or later, your life slowly but surely changes. I am not the same person I was last year.
And that's so good. And that's so good. You see, Jim Rohn will say, stand guard at the entrance to your heart, at the entrance to your mind, actually, in that you need to watch what you listen to, because those are information coming into you. Remember, you are going to deal with them because you are absorbing those information. You are the recipient of the information. Sometimes I say that our head is an antenna reflecting something, but it's also a receiver. You are both sending signal and receiving signal. What kind of signal do you want to receive? Remember, anything you receive, you are going to have to deal with it.
And we have, and we're still dealing. I love it.
All right. Thank you so much for that. You see, there is a lot of value in what you are sharing with me, and I really find it very helpful. In our community, the African Diaspora community, of course, as much as I do, that we need this information. Why? Because there is a lot of negative information flowing around. Sometimes this is by our own doing. Sometimes it's also the doing of another person to undo us. But we're going to have to help ourselves by standing guard at the entrance to our mind. Choose the kind of information you want to receive. You see, you said just now that you go to Facebook, you don't just take all the information. No.
Right.
Because you need to know who you are. You need to know what those information are going to cost you. In terms of now you receive it, you are going to deal with it.
Mm-hmm. You have the control.
Thank you so much. Tell me more about that control, self-control. Tell me more about that in what you do.
So it's about acceptance. What are you willing to accept? Literally. A lot of people, and I was in that same space about 3 years ago, probably maybe 2 years ago now. And, we're always constantly saying, I need to come off of Facebook. I need to come off of social media. Now, I will say that is a good thing because sometimes we do need to decompress from all the stimuli that we're consistently doing. A lot of us are out here because you and I, we're out here, we're trying to reach others, give them the information so they can get the help that they need or figure out how to get the help. Drop the seeds there so who wants it can get it. But at the same time, you have a lot of people out here that are like, oh, I want to come off social media. I can't stand it anymore because they're getting on my nerves or I can't take it anymore. But the thing about it is, who do you have that's on your Facebook list that is giving out that negative information? You have the power in this one little finger.
Just click.
You can block, delete, or unfriend anyone you want to. You don't have to, and then we don't have control of certain videos that come on our timeline, but that doesn't mean anything. If you don't want to see the negativity, there's a little dot, dot, dot. You click on it and it'll say X. I don't want to see anything else like this. So that controls your page. You have the control. It doesn't control you. And if all else fails, you don't have to be on social media if you can't control it. If you don't have the power to control your own life and your own atmosphere, come off of social media. Come off of whatever it is, that's controlling you. Because at the end of the day, nothing and no one should ever have that control over you. That's all on you. That's all on us individually. What are you accepting because you want to be accepted? What are you dealing with because you want to be loved? You have to look in the mirror and say, okay, how do I love myself? And what is your definition of love? Okay, is that your definition of love? Seeing women beat each other up all the time and they're standing around, that's your definition of love? Come on now. What is your if you think that's love, then hands up. Then don't say 30 minutes late, 30 days later saying, I need to come off of social media. I can't take it anymore. But you did
that. Maturity.
Exactly.
All right. I like something also else that you said before, which is I think you did make mention of water. And water is a natural source. In that we are natural element, all of us. No, I don't know whether it is 70% of the content of the human body that is actually water. I think that almost directly corresponds to the earth that we live in. I think about 70% of the world of the earth is water.
Mm-hmm.
Now,
I believe it.
So we're talking of the forces of nature here. And we know that we are nature actually, because when we die, our body returns to dust. It is said dust to dust. And of course, the spirit lives now. With me, we are actually part of what we are living, where we are living, and also what we are living. And that also relates to the food, in that we are eating what we are. If not, try to eat rock and see what will happen to you. Or maybe a piece of iron, just put it in your mouth, no? You see what happens to you. So we are nature, so we eat natural elements, no? I mean, I'm trying to understand how the power of nature affect the work you do, in the sense of maybe, for example, deciding to go and walk in nature, deciding to go out to watch a river just flow, the wind just blowing, see natural element like the flower, just celebrating nature. And you are going there instead of maybe sitting in front of the computer all day long, or with people that are nangy all day long. Yeah, tell me about that, the power of nature in what you do.
Oh, wow. I can do that all day. So you said something really very profound, and it's very interesting. A lot of people don't understand it. How we go back to we are so we're spirit. Let me stop that right there. We are spirit initially. We are energy, we are spirit. We are borrowing this body. It's on loan. It's not who we truly are. It's not who we are. This body is on loan, and it's just like a stage play. When the stage play is done, doing its traveling, we take the costume off and we go back to being who we are in human form. Well, take that from a spiritual standpoint, an energy standpoint. When we are done borrowing this human body, we take the costume off because it's no longer usable, able to be used anymore, and we go back to our spiritual energy forms, which again, like you said, does not die. You don't die. We don't die. We're energy. And when we get that concept, when we finally let go of the human concepts that have been programmed into us, then we can understand everything as far as like water, earth, fire, air. Because we, being energy, are all those things. Because when we connect to the earth, when we decide, remember when we were children, we were just innocent. We would run outside and play all outside in the dirt, in the mud, in the grass, roll around in the grass, in the snow, make angels. And wherever the snow was, we found things to do outside. We ate things outside and our hands were dirty. Did we die? No. Why? Because we're connected to the earth. If kids were always playing in the dirt, we played in the dirt and we slept good at night. We rolled around in the grass, itching though, but we it was healthy. We were grounding ourselves and not even knowing that's what it was. We were connecting with Mother Earth, the spirit that is actually regenerating our bodies. So if you take that, you're going outside, you decide I need to take a break. And this is what I did one day. I was supposed to go to work. I wasn't feeling well. I got really sick. I got so sick that I was like, I can't take it. My head was hurting and I was sick as I'll get out. Something said, go ground. I said, okay. And this was like 7:00 in the morning. Go do what? Go ground. I'm like, okay. So there's a huge park around the corner up the street, about 5 minutes away from where I live. And it has a huge park, a trail where you can walk and ride your bikes. But at the back of it, there's a stream. My favorite spot I love to go to, especially when the stream is high and you can I went back there. So before I went, I started on the trail. It was a concrete trail. Something said, take your shoes off. Okay. Mind you, it had just been raining early that morning, so the water was wet. Okay, take your shoes off. So I'm walking across the grass and it's wet. My feet are getting soaked in the grass and in the water. It felt so good. Then I went back to where the stream is and I sat on the rocks and I stuck my feet into the stream and I sat there for like 30 minutes and I had my eyes closed. All the elements around me, no fear. And I could feel my body regenerating. This is where we get our sustenance. This is where we get our healing. If you just take a moment and lay in the grass, you can feel the vibrations from Mother Earth coming into you. You can feel it, it just moves through you. If you just take the time out and relax, you can feel it. You can feel it going straight through you. Sometimes some people aren't able to do it because they say, what about the dog? At that park, thank God, they have no dogs. They will not let dogs go to that pet. They will not allow dogs to go to that park. So you're free to roam. I've done it. I've walked on the concrete in the park and I've just stood there and you can feel it. If you cannot get to a park, you still have the element of water at home. Stand in the shower. Let the water run down. And I guarantee you, I've done this so many times. It runs down. And if you just stand literally, let the water run down, you can feel the energy pouring, whatever that heaviness is, it pours off of you. I can't explain the feeling, but it's a cleansing. And it's like you've seen it on a cartoon or something where there's this like gold light running down you, It feels like that. And I feel so much better. It's like I can breathe. And at the same time, I'm meditating and I'm just taking it all in. And I don't get out until whatever that heaviness is gone. And I feel so much better. This is how, if we incorporate that along with the meditation, along with the intentions, along with the foods from earth. That's another thing you just mentioned also in that question about the foods that we intake from earth, the greens, all the green plants, everything that's from the earth is more healthier for us than anything we could ever eat. Anything. I have so much respect for my brothers and sisters down where you are because you all eat the healthier foods. Everything in America is almost processed. It's crazy. Process, process, process. When I grew up as a young child, everything was cooked homemade. And then they came up with McDonald's. What did they do that for? Because I lost my mind. I can say now, I'm glad that I had those roots, that my grandmother cooked those foods, that she taught me how to cook greens and, snap peas and beans and stuff. I was 5 years old in the kitchen with my big sisters and cousins. And I'm like, why am I in here peeling potatoes? These are the things from the earth. And these are the things.
Absolutely. Are those processed food that you're talking about in America and in Europe? They are beginning to make their way also to Africa, of course. Anyway, that is an argument we might not necessarily make today, but there is a program here that they are selling to Africa that we don't have good food. Oh, don't worry, we will just send you the food here. Is processed. You don't even need to farm anymore. Don't worry. But of course, we are paying for everything. And now, so that the sickness that don't used to be available among Africa are now beginning to get, particularly within the area of the city, because people have lost control of the balance, Anyway, that is a conversation for another day, not for today. All right. So tell me, Melvinia, if people want to reach you, how can they reach you? What is the best way to reach you?
You can reach me. I have 2 emails. One is rebirthdimension@gmail.com, or you can reach me at Coach Melvi at rebirthholistic.com. That's COACHMELVI at rebirthholistic.com. Those are the 2 areas you can reach me fast and I will respond.
Thank you so much for that. All right. So what is the final take here for today's conversation? Please go ahead and do that.
When you are ready to change your life, you will. There's a dear friend that told me something a long time ago. You have 2 choices. Either deal with it or not. But the repetitive cycle, everyone doesn't want to continually hear it. And eventually you'll get sick of hearing it yourself. So if you're tired of dealing with where you are, make the change. But if you're not tired and you keep repeating and talking about it, eventually no one's going to want to hear about it. So make the change and stand on it.
That's so great. So, I mean, you are now mature now. Take the stand and say, yeah, I want this change. Because until you do that, nothing is going to happen. You get all the information are actually out there. But when you have gotten in, if you don't take action, nothing will happen. You'll just be like yesterday.
That's it.
Thank you so much, sister. I appreciate the conversation and the sharing. And I believe that those that are listening to you, they got value from it. I appreciate you.
I appreciate you so much as well. Love being on here with you.